I've started recording. Matt, if you could start us off, and I'll carry us from there.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there shouldn't be any children of any ages. Welcome to the Thursday night edition of Sammies and Beer. I am one of your hosts, Matt. With me, as always, is Tomas and Agathy. Yeah, it's a fantastic Thursday. How's everybody doing today?
Matt, I'm doing fantastic this Thursday on Sammy's and Beer. We're going to be talking about all things horror, from slashers to movies to actual things that are horrific. You know, Jeffrey Dahmer documentary out. Interesting things happening. I've got some stories that I pulled from Reddit. It is pretty great. And then, of course, we have the egg.
Yes, I've been good, aside from minor inconveniences today, and we're going to talk about the horror of my life.
We're going to talk about the horror of that is her internet today, actually. So
yes.
we'll get into that. If excuse the audience, if you see any issues with this one, it's absolutely her fault, and you should send her hate mail, 100%.
Please do. Dox me.
Yeah. Kicking us off today, we're going to do our normal routine for those that have watched, considering literally no one has watched. Just to explain the routine for the next 15 episodes or so. We're going to take shots, literally shots, and we're going to dedicate them either in the pro or the negative to things. Egg doesn't take shots because she's a baby, so she drinks milk, I think. Grow some strong bones.
Yes.
But we still include her. So, Matt, I'd actually love if you would start us off on our shot today.
All right. Well, I have to crack my shot open. But I'm going to do my shot. This is with us starting the stream on Twitch. We actually have our good friend, Ozdog, jumped in and is chatting. So my shot goes out to you, Ozdog. Appreciate you, buddy. Haven't played with you in a while, but cheers to you, buddy.
What a homie. I haven't played with him in a while because he loves his World of Warcraft, and I can't knock that. I love it.
That I cannot.
Eggy, I'd like for you to go next.
So, my shot's going to go out to all the people. My shot of sweet tea. Going to go out to all the people that decorate for Halloween, but only use blow-ups. I respect you. Thank you.
All right. Well, we're just going to move on past that.
Oh, no, we're not. I'm going to do mine, and we're going to go back into that.
Okay.
My shot today is actually going to go out to all the people who dress appropriately for interviews. I've been going through the interview process for quite a few places, and holy shit, the amount of jeans, basketball shorts, and just shitty-ass attire I've seen this week is goddamn ridiculous. So here's to all you...
buy a pair of cargo pants?
What?
Didn't you go buy cargo pants?
I bought EMT pants for my EMT skills assessment. Yes, I did. Wow. Blow me away. I was still well-dressed. Collar t-shirt, belt tucked in. So this goes all out to all the bitches who can't dress right for their interviews. So, hallelujah.
And I would say you should be celebrating them because they just make you look that much better.
I know, it was a positive. Positive.
Like I had an internal interview. So for the company that I work for with a different position, I wore a shirt and tie. I will say I did have basketball shorts on. However, I work from home and I was on camera, so you only saw me from maybe nips and up.
Okay, but was the shirt tucked into the basketball shorts? I gotta know.
No.
Oh, damn.
No.
You shouldn't have said basketball shorts. You should have bought tidy whities for the interview. If they made you stand up, it just would have been so much more funny.
Yeah.
Right, Matt, do a little turn for it.
Do a little turn. Amazing. So, back to the previous conversation topic, we have strife within our podcast group today. It's pretty serious. Matt thinks people shouldn't decorate with blow up Halloween decorations, and Egg thinks it's a great idea. I personally don't care. It's Halloween. It's a garbage holiday, anyways. So, continue.
I didn't say that you shouldn't do it. What I said is don't go spend $200 at Walmart on stupid blow-up toys and then put them in your front yard and then post a video on social media about how fancy you are with your Halloween decorations.
Rebuttal?
Rebuttal is, man, sometimes people don't have a lot of time. Those things, you just put them out in the yard, connect them to a electrical socket, and they blow up right there. Boom. 20 minutes, mira, done.
Mira?
Mira?
Yeah. And then the next 20 minutes are spent shooting their video for their Facebook page to show everybody how awesome their Halloween decorations were that took them 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have taken like 4 hours and been like, all right, guys. Like, and the takedown time. Like, come on.
It's true.
Like, if you spend 3 hours putting it up, you're going to take 6 hours taking it down, putting it back up, putting it back in the shed. Like, I get it.
It's about the journey.
Time management.
It's
not the ending.
It's about the journey, not the ending. Well, Matt, I'm sure your wife really appreciates that that frame of mind. You're a man, a scholar, and beautiful. So let's get into today's topic. We've got horror on our mind. It's Halloween. The season is coming. Actually, it's here.
We'll say it's here. It's full swing. The second they bust out pumpkin spice, it's Halloween season.
Don't they do that in like August?
Yeah. Yeah, and then you get the summer girls that get all mad at the fall girls, because apparently there's different types of women that are fall girls and summer girls, and the summer girls get super mad.
Dude, let me tell you, I can drink some pumpkin spice. It'll be 98 degrees outside, and I'm hot pumpkin spice latte every time I see Starbucks. I love that shit.
Absolutely.
I can't get it iced too.
Surprising.
I can't get it cold too because it tastes different. It's got to be hot.
That's pretty basic white girl stuff.
Yeah. So it was being in a room with the Alamo and a cow and a Texas flag bedspread and a cow print chair. It's amazing.
It's something.
Got to bring the whole ensemble together.
Yeah.
You'll have a question about where I'm from.
Yeah, no southern accent. It's just disappointing.
Northern Canada.
I actually live in Ohio. Oh.
I just really wish they were in Texas.
Actually, did you see that colony in Brazil, Americana? I recently saw a video about that. It was that I think about 4,000 Confederate troops fled to Brazil after the Civil War, and about 2,000 returned because they realized Brazil's hot garbage, which is fair. But 2,000 didn't and became like agricultural geniuses out there because they knew how to grow cotton. Fair. And they
just didn't know how to pick it.
Correct. Which is what the Brazilians were for. But they... So the colony ended up like staying there, and there is a place where they all know whatever fucking... It's not Spanish, it's... Portuguese. They all speak Portuguese, and they're all white-ass Americans. Like, we're talking red-headed Americans. They live down there, and they are happy, and blah, blah, blah. And, yeah.
It's kind of like East Africa, when you go to East Africa, and there's a bunch of white dudes.
Yep. And, I'm just hoping the motherfuckers in Brazil fight, the Americans in Brazil fight the Germans in Argentina,
I was gonna say, according to X-Men, there's a bunch of Germans living in Argentina.
That's like a historical fact. Yeah, no, they were in Argentina.
I believe it. Apparently, when you lose a war, you just flee to South America.
South America.
Just go somewhere else.
Hey, all I'm saying, the women. So can't blame them. Can't knock them. But well, let's get into our theme. We're getting way too off topic today. I'm trying to rein us in a little bit. I really want to hear the opinions of your favorite horror movies. Now, this doesn't have to be paranormal, doesn't have to be slasher, it could be whatever really like gets you going. So I'd like to actually hear our younger member first. For those of you that know, Egg is in her early 20s. Matt's in his late 60s, I believe. And
turned 63 last week.
see, perfect. And I'd like to hear our young one versus our old one, and then the middle ground, and we'll talk about that. So, Egg.
So my favorite type of like horror movie is not like the normal like paranormal activity, like kind of that kind of stuff. I really like psychological horror kind of shit. Yeah, that really gets my gears going.
So like what? What was it?
Like Midsummer.
Midsummer's a good one, or the one where they're trying to break into the house. I can't remember what that one was.
I know which one you're talking about,
yes.
but now that you can't think of it, I can't think of it.
Of course not. What
I really want to watch Don't Worry, Darling, mostly for the main character, but
the lesbian.
Saw one of those?
Lesbian.
Would you consider Saw in that category? Or any of the Saw movies?
That's more
gore. Is that a psychological?
But it could be psychological, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Matt Tholomew?
Excuse me.
I don't watch a ton of horror slasher movies.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick one that I would say is my favorite, I always kind of like the kind of that like post-apocalypse type ones. I'm a big fan of the post-apocalypse type genre, as we saw from our previous discussion. So like
The Book of Eli. That's a good one.
Book of Eli was I mean, that wasn't really a horror.
It was pretty a little freaky, but yeah, I get it.
But kind of along those genres, like The Hills Have Eyes, I thought was super fucking creepy. But it's one of those things where it's like, this really, I mean, it could happen, like maybe not to that extreme, but I guarantee you there's some creepy fucks living in a cave somewhere.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's kind of like that's probably my favorite is the ones that are like more practical. That actually can happen.
Now, would you say that you like serial killer horror movies, like based on a true story, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Town That Feared Dawn, really old school kind of stuff? Would you say that you like that?
I mean, if I was going to watch them, like when you say a horror movie to me, that's what I think of as stuff like that.
Okay, and
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Hills Have Eyes, yeah.
I mean, and then you also grew up with like in the decades of Scream, Friday the 13th, all the slasher movies.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, why can't I think of his name? The guy with claws, Freddy
Krueger. Yeah.
Yep, that was a terrifying one.
Nightmare on Elm Street, which is
when I
more
was younger
supernatural.
for a long time.
Yeah, definitely more supernatural, but.
What'd you say?
But
when I was younger for a long time, I thought Freddy Krueger was the actor, not the character.
Yes, we're
for a long
dumb.
time.
And look, I have Egg up here on my screen on my TV, and it's like, I'm talking to you, Egg. What's up? How you doing, Matt?
See, it's flipped for me. So like you're talking to me right now and looking at like so.
Well, let's hope my recording makes it look.
What? No, I think it sounds better if you're crazy.
Thanks.
What would you say is your genre?
Oh, paranormal, all the way, because it's like a slasher, a serial killer. Like, I could probably like hold my own for a good 5 minutes to let my friends run away. Right? I'm not saying I'd win a fight. I mean, those guys are ridiculous. But it's just like, whatever. I'll figure it out. But paranormal, it's like it's a ghost or a demon or something super nuts. It's like there's nothing you can do. That terrifies me. There's no way to really fight against it. I will say, however, I am a huge fan. I dated this girl on a deployment, which is not what you're supposed to do, by the way, Eggy. But she loved House of a Thousand Corpses. And I'd never seen it, which was a Rob Zombie original movie. And holy shit, does that movie freak me the fuck out. And it's just all real people, like, totally plausible. Freaks me out to this day. And then, of course, growing up, I watched like The Exorcist and Poltergeist and things like that. And I feel like when I was growing up, movies were more paranormal scary than they were slasher scary.
Still both. So let me ask you this: growing up, what was the first horror movie that you can remember watching that like definitely scared the shit out of you?
I accidentally
50 Shades of
watched.
Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. Okay. All right. Well, all right.
It changed me.
Okay. It changed you. Oh, okay.
In a horrible way.
Growing up, I was
Actually,
5
my self-discovery of being a lesbian.
because he scared you too much. Mr. Gray scared you.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I was 5, and I walked in on my parents watching The Exorcist, and it was the scene where Reagan was crawling down the stairs upside down and backwards with blood flowing out of her mouth. Nowadays, not very scary. I was fucking 5 years old. I lost my shit for like years. So, and then me and my brother loved watching scary movies growing up. So we watched The Ring, The Grudge, things of like that nature. Freaked me out. Loved them though. Didn't. So
Yeah.
I'd say that's my answer.
Exorcist. Yeah, that would be a little freaky
It's still freaky. Have you
to
seen
watch
it
at 5.
recently?
No.
It still freaks me out.
I'm just saying at 5.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I mean, I only glimpsed like 30 seconds of it, and it still just floored me.
Just standing there for 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I shit myself. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I could see
I
that.
wasn't potty trained at the time.
He was only 5.
I hope I was potty trained at 5, but I don't know because that's all I remember. I think I repressed everything else.
Fair enough.
But yeah, freaky things, freaky movies.
Meg, what about you?
Kind of the same thing. What was it? It wasn't Paranormal Activity. Maybe it was. I was pretty young. I was like 7, and I had this like visceral fear of ghosts or something. I don't remember what movie it was.
Casper
But
the
it
Friendly Ghost.
terrified me. Yeah, it was Casper actually, the animated movie. Oh, but I had this huge fear of ghosts, and my cousin was super into it. Like she was the one that like made her whole like lifestyle around it and everything. So she was like super into it, and she was like, "We need to watch this movie." And I was like, okay." Like I didn't want to be the one to commit the party foul and be like, "I'm too scared. Let's not watch that movie." And I had nightmares about it for like years after that. So I was terrified.
What movie was it?
I don't remember what movie it was, but it was one of those like classic horror ones with the ghost was like screaming, Had a ghost in it.
I mean,
A ghost.
What a singular ghost. I get it.
Just one.
I don't watch those kind of movies like that now.
Was it Ghostbusters?
Yes. It was the green booger looking ghost.
His name is Slimer.
I love how you know the name.
How do you not know the name?
Because you're showing your age right now. I don't fucking know the name.
Oh.
But my question is, we're talking about all these horror things. No one seems to be freaked out by monster movies.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of monsters are we talking?
So, I mean, a good example is going to be Cloverfield. That was a hit when it came out originally. Everyone was super excited for it. Big online presence, super cool. Monster flick. I mean, you could have The Thing, The Blob. There's countless monster movies, but I just feel like the consensus is no one's really actually afraid of these things.
Oh, well.
I'm like, sorry, Matt.
Oh no, he said The Blob, and so that was just, you guys had your movies. That was my movie that I watched when I was like 6 at my neighbor's house. And I don't think I took a shit on a toilet for 2 months.
Where did you take a shit at?
Anywhere else.
In the sink.
Like I grew up, there was 6 of us in a 1-bathroom house. And I'm pretty sure I pooped with the door open. and I was I stood away from the drain. That movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I was so terrified.
Huh. So I guess I was wrong.
Which I went back and watched it, and I was like 17, and I'm like, this is the worst movie ever.
It's
Why was
so
I so
bad.
scared?
It's so bad.
So,
Egg, were you ever afraid of monster movies at all?
Not really. Because I think I could rationalize with myself, like, this isn't real. So, like,
Until it is. I get it. And then, of course, we have the very rarely talked about, very rarely made alien horror drama, which is
Signs.
Signs is a good one. The Fourth Kind is also another good one. Freaky, for sure. When I watched Signs when I was a kid, that freaked me out. So did The Fourth Kind.
Yeah.
The Fourth Kind still freaks me out. Was it
War of the Worlds?
War of the Worlds?
Tom Cruise?
Yep.
That was a really good movie as well.
It was. That was more... Yeah, no, that's still terrifying, I think. Our buddy Ozdog was talking about the scariest scene he's ever seen, and it was the gargoyles from Ghostbusters, and I get that.
Funny, Lincoln actually we watched Ghostbusters last weekend, and my youngest son watched it and is still talking about how terrified he was.
I mean, it's just different, especially looking back now, what actually scared you back then. So, it is exactly what it is.
Yeah. So we're talking, movies and things like that, but we've all had, like, do you guys have a time where something like stuck with you, where like you were in a situation or something happened to where you can remember vividly the story of where you were just absolutely terrified of something?
Terrified.
Like, it could have been a situation.
I screamed when I killed a roach the other day.
Well, that
doesn't count. I mean, I always thought about people offering me drugs and me saying no, but it never actually happened. But that's not exactly what you're talking about.
No. So let me give you an example of one that has stuck with me for my entire life. So when I was probably 9 or 10 years old, we went deer hunting quite a bit. And my dad got deer hunting tags. We were out. We always used to stay in like a shitty camper in the back of the truck. And we went out. I don't remember where we were. We were West River somewhere. Or we were right on the river. And went out. We walked probably 2 miles in. And we're right on the river. So it's super hilly country. Up and down, up and down. And long story short, we shoot a deer.
Okay.
The night sit, so sun's just about to go down. We go down, we drag this deer to the beach because the guys that we were with had brought a 3-wheeler. And so we were going to leave the deer on the beach, go get, because we couldn't drive the 3-wheeler through the land that we were in, but we could drive it on the beach for the river because that's public access. We get down to it, get the deer all ready. My dad's like, well, it's getting too late. You're going to stay here with the deer. And I'm going to hike out and go get the 3-wheeler and I'll come and get you. So at 10 years old, he leaves me with a dead deer on the side of the river. He gives me a cigar and a knife.
He didn't even leave you a rifle.
Nope, he took the gun with him. There were coyotes howling, and I am sitting next to a fresh kill pile of guts 100 yards away, and I sat there for 2+ hours. Then all of a sudden I'm watching, and it's dark, like it's dark. And I'm watching, and all of a sudden I see a light on the 2 miles away, and I see this light kind of start moving. All of a sudden the light goes away. I'm like, what the fuck? A couple minutes go by, all of a sudden the light pops back up. And the light moves a little bit more, and the light goes away. Then all of a sudden, the light kind of flashes a couple of times. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Of course, like I said, I'm 9, 10 years old. I've seen scary movies. I'm thinking aliens. I'm thinking everything fucking horribly is going wrong. finally, after 10 minutes of seeing this light, it was my dad pulling up on the three-wheeler. It kept dying on him, and he couldn't get it started, and the headlight kept going out when the fucking thing would die. So, that was an absolutely horrifying, traumatic memory I have from a childhood.
It's just stuck in there forever.
Oh, yeah. I'll never forget that story.
That's awesome. I mean, that's
Moral
not
of the
awesome.
story, don't leave your kids on the side of a river with a knife and a cigar. Don't give your kids cigars at 9.
Well, what really grinds my gears, he gave you a cigar, he didn't give you a way to light it. Like, what did he
Oh,
expect?
no, it was lit.
Oh.
Oh, he lit it before he left.
Did you smoke it? That's the question.
You're fucking ain't right, I did. I was nervous smoking. What's going on? Maybe I'll send smoke signals to somebody. I don't know what the fuck to do.
Well, Egg, do you have any moments from your childhood that stuck with you?
Mine's
That are terrifying?
Mine's not really terrifying. Mine's really like it wasn't terrifying. It was like I can't think of the word, but it was like it was scary, but it wasn't like I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
Like so the hurricane hit, fucking ruined everything, right? I came back home and it was overcast, drizzling, like there was no sun, and it was icky, wet. It smelled really bad, really bad. And I was walking up the driveway, and like sounds that you normally hear, like you don't normally hear, like your feet through gravel. You normally don't hear that. It all sounded really loud. And then I came around to my backyard, and we had a shed in the back, and it had a tin roof, and the tin roof was completely pulled back, and so you could hear it scraping against itself. And it was so loud because it was still windy. It was so loud because that's all you could hear. There was no birds. There was no like sound of life around. It was just the sound of like me walking and the tin scraping against it, and it was just like super uncomfortable. But, like, it wasn't terrifying. But it's the only one I can really think of right now.
It's clearly something that, stuck with you. It's unnerving.
Yeah.
Is a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this didn't happen when I was a kid. Okay. I guess this happened when I was about 23, so about 5 years ago. My best friend, he since moved, but he used to live in New Mexico. I live in Texas, and I would go up to see him a few times a month, right? Great guy, loved hanging out with him. He lived in the middle of the motherfucking desert. So it was a spooky-ass drive, usually, because work and stuff, I usually didn't start driving until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like an 8-hour drive, so I'd get there pretty late, And I was a motherfucker hoping to see some aliens. Every single time. I was just checking the skies, checking everything. But something that really kind of creepy that happened, and it's not like spooky creepy, it's like I was about to become a prostitute. There was a couple on the side of the road with their flashers on, and they were trying to wave me down, and they were like getting really close to being in the center of the road. And my father was like, "Hey, don't stop for anything, especially not out there, especially not late." So I'm like, me being me, I'm like, fucking deuces. I basically had to go to the left lane and like avoid them. And then when I looked in the rearview mirror, because there's the couple that was like trying to wave me down, they looked white, plain old, like people in the car. There were 2 other people.
Always the white people.
And so, like, I don't know, it couldn't have been. It very possibly could have been. They weren't kids; they were grown ass people, right? Could have very possibly been like just parents or trying to keep other people safe. But it freaked me out, like. To this day, I still think if I had stopped, something bad would have happened to me. I just had that like icky feeling, and I had that icky feeling even when like I stopped at this shady ass gas station because there's like nothing on the way there. I got so creeped out pumping gas in my car, and I was so low that I put in like a quarter tank, and I like paid it and then fucking bolted. And I just felt like that until I got to El Paso. essentially. Or no, I was in New Mexico at that time. Until I got to like a city.
Yeah, you have to become a sex slave.
I could have become
or until you see a random dog just sitting in the middle of the road.
That freaks me out too.
Remember that?
Oh my god, yeah! Matt and I go on vacations together quite often. In fact, it's happened twice. I count that as often for me.
They're solo vacations without their girlfriend or their wife. It's just them two alone in the woods all the time.
Quiet time.
Yeah. Shh. Beautiful. Anxious, salty because she's not invited. She doesn't have a wiener.
Talks too much.
Yeah. We were driving in some fucking bumfuck nowhere roads in Missouri, and we were rolling up because we were coming back from dinner with your father-in-law, right?
Yep.
And
we stopped and got ice.
Yeah.
And then the GPS took us on that random fucking gravel road.
I still think it was like a bike path.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And it was a black lab, right?
I think so.
Just sitting directly.
Or the spirit of Satan.
Sitting directly in the center of this gravel road. And like Matt pulls up to it and it doesn't fucking move anywhere.
Like you would think it was literally laying on the road and looked at us. And I would think like as I pull up, like it would get up and like move out of the way. No. It was, if anything, it was mad that we woke it the fuck up. Like he stared at us the whole time we drove by.
Or it was begging for death, you know.
It was the creepiest fucking thing I've ever seen.
We definitely kept looking behind us because I just expected it to get up on two legs and start running after us. It was that creepy. It was pitch black, like freaky. I do remember that.
Terrifying.
Just little things like that. You never know. Never stop when you're driving, kids.
Always bring a gun.
And that too. No, I didn't have mine with us at that time. I'm sorry.
Damn it, Thomas. You had one job.
It was at the campsite. I do have to ask, if you're watching a scary movie and you see that it says based on a true story, does that do anything for you?
No.
No? Bella?
No. I watch Law and Order, bro. Like, that's all based on a true story.
You watch murder porn, man.
Did you just say I watch Law and Order, bro? Like,
can we get that on a shirt?
That was the weirdest flex I've ever heard. Like, that should be a shirt. Like, don't judge me. I watch Law and Order, bro.
That's a TikTok clip. That right there. That one right there. 33 minutes.
No, like...
Watch Law and Order, she says.
Yeah, that scares me. I watch Law and Order. No, like, all of Law and Order is, like, based on a true story. Like, that don't make it real. Like, the fuck?
Well, after seeing movies that are based on true stories and then how much liberty they're able to take with them.
Oh, so much.
They just do whatever they want. Like, basically, you just have to name, like, one real person within that, and you can base it on a true story.
You could do The Hills Have Eyes could have had based on a true story, I'm sure. You know?
Yeah. Like, because there was the hills that they shot in were real.
Yeah, exactly. There was an old man that lived down the hills. It's like,
yeah.
Good enough.
There was, these mines that we shot in are real, so it's based on a true story.
It's a dumb thing, but I wanted to bring it up. It's part of the culture of horror
like
movies.
I almost feel like there should be rules that if you're gonna say based on a true story, that like 90% of it has to be accurate, or there has to be a certain level of accuracy. Because if that was the case, like if I watched it and it was like based on a true story, and I knew that 90% of it, like I get, you know, for a movie, sometimes you got to add things, add a scene here or there, things like that to make it more entertaining. But if I saw that and knowing that it was like 90% true, that would definitely make it more terrifying. But knowing that they're just saying it just to make you scared.
And it's true. Well, I think there are some things that aren't going to scare me. Like I said, like the whole slasher genre thing is just like,
Well, what about
Well,
like
Michael Myers was based on a true story.
Was he?
that's a slasher?
Yeah.
That's a complete lie, actually.
I was
I
like,
was saying.
Well, I think they say in the beginning of the Blair Witch Project was based on a true story, didn't they?
yes, huge hoax. I think the only part of that that's true is the urban legend of the Blair Witch.
Yeah. Which that was when that first came out. That was fucking.
That
was
spooky.
terrifying.
Yeah, I remember that. I was a kid when that came out. I remember that shit.
I did think it was really funny that Egg said something about Paranormal Activity because my wife and I actually watched that movie on our first date. And Egg watched it when she was a child as her first horror.
You're telling me you took your wife not only to a movie on your first date, but a scary movie?
But the pair.
No, it wasn't our first date. It was our first movie that we watched, like, not at a movie theater. First movie we saw was Sherlock Holmes.
It's a good one.
Mm.
It's a good
It
one.
was.
Robert Downey Jr., never a bad movie.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll take that one.
Can't go wrong. But then, yeah, we watched Paranormal Activity at my apartment, like, a few days later.
Watch.
What?
Oh, no, we watched it.
I watched
terrifying.
I watched Paranormal Activity when I was a teenager on base in South Korea, and there was a bunch of Marines and soldiers and everything, Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, everyone was there because it was it was a big hit at the time. They spent like $20,000 filming it, and they made millions. And I distinctly remember a bunch of the dudes in front of me, these jacked, like just built guys, could take down an elephant. It's like, hey, so you want to stay the night tonight? A little freaked out.
Muscles don't make you strong mentally.
Yeah, it was a freaky ass movie. I remember that.
It doesn't make you strong mentally. Like that shit can fuck with you.
It can. It's like the feet print that are all weird looking, and it was so well done. Completely changed the paranormal drama.
Oh, for sure.
Genre. Yeah. Okay. Here's a related question to what we've been talking about. I want to know, and this is a weird thing, and you don't have to have an answer, because saying it they're your favorite is kind of sketchy. But what has been a serial killer whose story you know very well and has made an impact on you? Like you put in time to watching movies about them or things about them.
I only have one answer to that, but he wasn't a serial killer. It's just because of the fact that I knew the guy personally. I didn't know him personally, but I mean, like, I can't say too much because then everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, like they're gonna." I can't. I knew the dude who did the killing, and he is in prison. I knew him in passing because my mom worked for him. He's the reason she has the job she has today. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, he has like followers too, like women like writing him in prison and wanting to get married to him, and like he has like a cult following. Like that shit's real. Like women do that. Like I can't even say women. It's just women because he's a dude, but I can't imagine that. It probably goes both ways. But yeah, like it's super weird, and like they have like the first 48, like they did documentaries on him, and like 60 Minutes did too, and a movie just came out about the girl.
Oh shit, that's pretty badass. That's better than my answer. That's actually a legit answer.
Yeah.
Matt?
Again, I have nothing. I really
not even the Zodiac.
I don't watch. No, I don't really watch a lot of that stuff. Like I'll be honest, that stuff can mess with your mind, and I sometimes don't like to get into that stuff and think what these crazy fucks do.
Yeah, I mean they do some crazy ass shit. I'll give you that.
You know?
John Wayne Gacy. That's who.
Is that the guy who shot Lincoln?
No, that's not even close to the guy.
That's John Wilkes Booth.
That's John Wilkes Booth.
What the fuck? When I was a teenager, a horror movie came out about the demon that is John Wayne Gacy. Like it was just a paranormal movie, right? It freaked me out, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And I went down the rabbit hole, and he's a serial killer, right? He killed, like hundreds of young boys after doing other things to them, of course. But he dressed up as a clown was his big stick.
Oh, I've heard about this dude.
And this was when being a clown wasn't scary. You know, people weren't afraid of clowns at this point. This was the 80s. It wasn't that scary.
He ruined it.
It hadn't come
for
out
everybody.
yet. Like, it was just whatever. And he is the reason that all of these horror movies about clowns have come out. He was the inspiration for them. And so, me being a huge fan of clown-based horror, believe it or not, I do love me some clowns. They're freaky as fuck.
You look like one, so it's fair.
Yeah, well, your romantic life is one, so I don't want to hear it. Wait, that doesn't make sense. It's a joke. I don't know. Anyways, so that was one that had a huge impact on me. It's Matt, and I appreciate you having these kind of conversations with us, Matt, because I know you're not super into horror or these kinds of genres or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just I make a very conscious effort of things I allow myself to watch and see, because I'm a firm believer that, like, the things that you put into your brain, whether you're watching them, reading them, you know, things like that, have an effect on you and how you think and how you perceive things. And I don't like to see the darker side of things. I see the darker side of things just fine on my own. There's enough terribleness in the world, and so I like to watch happy and fun things.
Good.
Like Raymond Holt.
Actually, did I tell you about that? We finally got my dad into Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's on season 2.
Oh, I just want to talk to him now.
he's loving it.
I can't wait. I watched it the other night, and I seriously, every time I watch this scene, it makes me laugh so hard when Holt is, long story short, he says hole about 6 times, and Boyle goes, "Oh, that's saying hole way too many times." And he goes, "Yeah, even Boyle thinks it's creepy." And he goes, "That concerns me." It's, yeah.
I
like if Egg gets worried about something, that's when it would concern us.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I can hear
even Egg thinks it's weird. Oh, that's weird.
Really fucking weird. Or if Egg's like, "That's gay," I'm like, "Oh shit."
It's getting real homosexual in here.
I can hear my dad listening to it. Like, I can hear the scenes, and I've seen it so many times, I know what's happening, and then I just hear him bust out laughing. Best week I've ever had.
Show.
Oh,
such a good show.
He's so happy. But back on topic, Matt. Thank you for talking about all this stuff with us. It really
yeah. Helps. No, it's good. I mean, it's a fun, and you know, my kids. So I might introduce my kid. Like, my kids want to watch scary movies, but I can't let them watch too scary of things because they do scare easy. So I'm thinking tomorrow night we might watch Gremlins.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of starts out nice, and you know, it's not horrible, it's not terrifying, but a little freaky. And then next weekend we're gonna watch Poltergeist.
Oh yeah, do not let them watch Coraline. That's freaky.
Yeah.
Monster House is a good one though, like animated.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Which one?
Monster House.
Well,
it's like an animated kids movie. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good kids horror out there now, believe it or not. So
no, but it's not really horror. It's just like they put just monsters and stuff in them.
Pokemon's a good one. That one's solid psychological horror.
There's you should look up like Disney Channel horror, and it's just the right amount of spook, I think, for their age level. Yeah.
See, but I kind of want to get them a little bit of like actual spook. Like, you know, when I was a kid, my parents, you know, we ran amok and, you know, watched The Blob and Freddy Krueger and, you know, shit like that when I was like 6 and 7. Yeah. So like,
that's what I did.
My oldest son's 9, and like he's never seen anything.
Well, so and like for his generation right now, most of the horror actually is going to come from YouTube. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
My nephew's the same age, and he's been experiencing a lot of like spooky content from YouTube.
Well, but there's some kids that like have watched, like, he's like, "Dad, what's it?" And I'm like, "Oh." And I'm like, "Who told you about that?" "Well, the neighbor could." He's 6. What is he telling you about it for? Yeah. So, yeah.
This last it isn't too scary, but it's too scary for your kids for sure.
this is gonna make me sound like a big ass fucking weirdo, but like, there's a Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out. Is that gonna be like an adult horror movie, or is that gonna be like a kids horror movie?
Well, it wasn't made for kids to begin with, so I really don't know.
But it's popular with kids now.
It is popular
Because
with kids.
the original Five Nights at Freddy's came out when I was in like middle school, and they just had one come out last year. Like,
I was a grown ass adult when those. No, I was out of high school, barely. No, I was a senior in high school when those came out. Me and Bubbles played them together, and his mom
I was
freaked
in
out.
8th grade.
Oof. And I don't even
Five
think
Nights at Freddy's VR. Fuck that shit.
I don't even think Matt. You've played from Five Nights at Freddy's before.
I never have. I know my oldest son's talked about it a couple of times, but
It's pretty popular because
Bendy and the
normalized
Inkman,
it.
right?
What?
Is that Bendy and the Inkman?
No, that's different.
That's different. Okay.
Yeah, that's also pretty freaky. I have that on my Switch. Like it's good, but it's freaky. There's a lot of good horror content for them. You have to play it first or watch it first, and then decide if that's something you want your kids to see.
Yeah.
As a grown ass adult.
Yeah. So I have to decide between deciding if something's scary or too scary for my kids, or watching the new House of Dragons. Cool.
Which I need to watch. I haven't watched any of the House of Dragons.
I watched the 4th episode at work, and I was like, I need to turn this off.
I don't get it because I haven't seen it. I read the books for like the original Game of Thrones, if that helps, but I just.
It does. It helps a lot.
I haven't started.
For the prequel.
Have not started, so
yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. Okay. So, horror, spooky. Now we're gonna breach into where Matt believes doesn't exist. I also, before we really get into this, I want to do a huge shout out to our friend Kay. We're not gonna say her full name because that would be inappropriate and rude. She is a not licensed. She is a self-proclaimed spiritualist. She does tarot card readings. She has her own Discord, Twitch, everything. She does it all herself, and I'm sure she does a great job. I wanted her to be on here, but she actually has very early mornings, so he typically is asleep by the time we start, which is okay. So one day we'll do a session with her, and she can kind of explain some things, and Matt and her can argue until the day ends, because we have one firm believer, one non-believer. We have an Egg, and we have a Thomas. So, but I would like to kind of talk about creepy things that have happened to you in your personal life that you have not been able to explain away, And it could be positive, it could be negative. I have a couple stories, but I would like to hear from you guys first. So, have at it. If you have something. If not, I can start off.
I really don't have any, paranormal, nothing that I can't explain.
It doesn't have to be paranormal.
There's a weird vibrating about 9:30 every night out when we're sitting in the living room that we can't figure out what it is yet.
She lost her vibrator.
Did you check your wife's drawer?
No, because even she's like, "What is that?" Because it just all of a sudden goes bzzz, and then it's done. Actually, it's a kind of a bzzz, bzzz, and then it's done. And I don't know. Maybe it's the Ring camera adjusting something. I don't know. It's weird.
Did you have an old Nokia phone hidden somewhere? I think what's happening is that someone from the 2000s died in your house and they're haunting, but they're doing it in buzzes.
Maybe
you're stuck in the wall.
I'm pretty sure the people who owned this house before us did die in the house.
Oh, that's fucking terrifying. But God.
Not really. If you think about it, how many billions of people have lived on this earth? Somebody probably died buried where you live right now.
I don't think it's been
or
billions.
Was at some point.
I don't think it's been billions. I think it's been maybe.
There's 7 billion people on the earth right now.
Yeah, because we have a population boom. I don't think. Because there was. I'm going to Google it. Egg, I want to hear if anything creepy has happened to you. You can't explain.
I've had some, really, really creepy dreams. One time I had fallen asleep. I had a really, really rough time falling asleep. And the hotel I was in is very well known to be haunted. I'm falling asleep. I had to struggle falling asleep, and I was just laying on my back. And then, I was in the dream. Everything was pitch black. I couldn't see anything. and I wasn't like standing or laying. It felt like I was suspended, like in midair, and it felt like I was just like on my back in midair, and like I could hear somebody whispering over my shoulder, and they were whispering like weird shit, like it's okay, just let go, give up, let go, and like it felt like that dream lasted like an eternity, and I woke up and it had only been like 3 hours. It was fucking terrifying.
So we have a really cool common ground right now in that I've had experiences in the same exact hotel. So Egg and I have stayed in that same hotel, separate times. But I've had, in that hotel, I've had my bathroom light turn on and off, and it wasn't like the sensor light where it will do that. Like, it was a switch, the shower run, the sink turn on, and then the rolling chair. Because, most hotels have like office chairs and desks. Hit my foot, like roll and hit my foot. And again, all of this can be explained away, right? 100% all of it could. Electrical issues, plumbing issues. It's a really fucking old hotel. It's old as shit. Foundation issues for the chair. Like, all of it can be explained away. But at the time, it's 3 o'clock in the goddamn morning, and I'm freaked out, right? And so that kind of stuff is just like, okay. Explainable. Totally explainable. And most things are, and that's where the skepticism meets the realism. Meets the everything. So, but I do have a story, and I'm pretty sure I've told it to my friends a couple of times before. I've told it a million times. But this was when I was in Colorado. My father was in the military, and we were in the Air Force Academy on-base housing. These houses were built in like the fucking 50s or 60s, old as shit. And there was a finished basement room. The rest of the basement room was unfinished, but there was a room in the basement that was finished. And me, being a senior in high school, I was like, that's my fucking room, right? Like, I claimed it, I loved it, and I lived it. And just weird things would happen every now and then, and hear voices. But again, could be from outside, could be TV, whatever, upstairs. One particular night, though, it was like those lacquered floors you have that are usually over hardwood that people back then would put. That was my flooring. I didn't have carpet, and I had a bed that was on wheels. The frame itself had wheels. And I remember I was asleep, and I felt my bed like hit the wall, and I was like, that's kind of weird. And I look into my room, and like all of my drawers were open. My clothes were everywhere. Right? It was just, everything was fucked up in general. My entire room was fucked up. And I turned my light on, and I sat back in bed, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because it was really early in the morning / really late at night. And then the light fixture that was on my ceiling slams down on the ground, shatters, and I jumped from my bed into the hallway, didn't cut my feet on the glass because I just fucking left. And I never went into that room again. So, that's my creepy story that I can't explain, really. Pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah, that's my creepy story,
Yeah.
We didn't last very long there, not because the house was haunted.
Do you ever wonder if like you sleepwalked?
And you know what? I have a history of sleepwalking when I was a kid.
So did you get up and maybe like go through your drawers and then went and laid back down?
Could have happened.
I mean.
Yeah. The light fixture could have been loose, Like, again, there's always an explanation.
I've met a lot of shitty electricians that hang light fixtures, so the light fixture definitely could have been loose.
Yeah, it was old. Like, it's just, especially at the time, and I was so young.
I mean, and that's... Timing on things like that can be, super weird.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I want to give you all the facts. Like, I'm not portraying it any other way. Just, this is what happened. This is my reaction. I left. I'm Mexican, so I don't give a fuck. If it was or wasn't, I'm out. See you later.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, people have had numerous spooky encounters, and you can never really trust media really anymore with that. Even streamers and stuff like that. I mean, what would you do for clout, right?
Yeah, people do stupid shit all the time.
My big final question before we move into the end segment of this podcast is, Matt, would you ever go with me to a known haunted location and hunt ghosts?
That's not possible.
would you ever go to a suspected haunted location that people believe is haunted and hunt ghosts with me? Like Phasmophobia style.
You can't hunt ghosts.
Well, Matt, would you do this activity with me with fake instruments and things like that? Ever?
Sure.
Perfect.
Dude,
Because it's not real.
Perfect. And that's exactly who I want with me when I'm experiencing this.
Like, I mean, yeah.
Perfect.
You don't want me with you because I'm going to be the one trying to fucking get the machine to chirp so that way you freak the fuck out.
Yes, that's what I want. Egg, would you ever come with us?
It's called the blue ghost for a reason. What do you say?
Would you ever do that with us?
Yeah.
That's a thing though. Like I had a guy that I used to work with and his wife for her vacations for like 3 years went to different haunted, like she went to like an insane asylum and like got to go in the insane asylum overnight. Like they allow people to go in there overnight for like ghosts and shit like that.
Yep, I know plenty of places. Actually, my girlfriend is taking my sister for her 21st birthday to New Orleans to stay in an old prison that's supposedly haunted.
Why would you?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to go do this? So let me get this straight. So
Absolutely.
you believe in ghosts? So that's what you're telling me, correct? You believe 100%.
Yep, I believe in ghosts.
You believe in ghosts? Do you believe that ghosts can harm you?
I'm on the fence. I'm not sure.
You're on the fence.
I've never been harmed by a ghost.
You've never been harmed, but you believe that they possibly could.
Maybe.
Possible. Could happen.
Yes.
So then your thought process is, I want to go to an area of things that I believe exists that could possibly harm me, and I want to go fuck with them.
Kinda. Yeah.
Hey, I just want you to hear that out loud for yourself.
But the thing is that I don't want to do that like just for me. I want to bring you with me.
Why?
Because I want your skepticism and I want to see if this shit holds up or not. Because I'm going to freak myself out. I can't take just me and Egg because we'll just build off of each other's bullshit, right? Me or Gabe will the same thing. My sister, everyone I know believes in ghosts, right? Every single person. You're the only one I've met that doesn't.
Ghosts?
What?
Every person you know other than me believes in ghosts?
Yes.
I don't believe in ghosts. I'm just scared of them.
They have
if they do exist, I'm terrified.
That I can find valid. Like that's the most real thing ever. Like, yeah, if you're real, like I'm terrified.
Every person I know, if they're given some sort of evidence that is kind of in the situation, they're going to be like, that's a fucking ghost, we're leaving. Right? But you would be like, that ghosts aren't real, so obviously this is fucking stupid. And I want that. Like, I want to see, I really want to put it to the test.
Okay.
That's what I want, the true skepticism.
You'd have a better chance of freaking me out if we were going into like a corn maze, because I've seen Children of the Corn and that shit's freaky.
That is freaky.
If you live around corn, Children of the Corn is freaky as fuck.
Freaky as hell.
If you took me into a place you were like, this is an insane asylum and we're gonna look for ghosts there. If I hear a noise in the insane asylum, I'm gonna just like almost piss myself on principle. Like it's an insane asylum. Like that's terrifying. Like just the place itself is scary. They don't have to be ghosts in there. I'm still gonna scream. Like,
see what I mean, Matt?
Yeah. No, well, I agree. Like, just like. But for me, like, I find like large crowds of normal people terrifying because normal people are terrifying.
That's a
with
fact.
Large crowds, there are so many fucking crazy fucking people out there. I am way more terrified of living people than I am fucking dead ghosts that may or may not exist. Because there are plenty of people who are alive, and most of them fucking batshit crazy.
It's like, yeah, it's fair.
also, like, ghosts don't make sense evolutionary. They don't make sense. What triggered in the evolutionary process to be like, ghosts.
Well, I think it was, I don't know, this really old wise mystic, right? He had really long hair, big beard. He definitely had tools of some kind. He once said, about 2010, 11-ish, that magic and science are the same thing where he comes from.
Good for him.
Was it Gandalf?
It was Thor, actually.
Oh.
But I think it would be an interesting time to have. Obviously, we do like one day of that and then like 6 days of drinking. But still, an experience.
At the inside of the insane asylum.
I say we have a goal because we're posting all this stuff on YouTube. We're doing all these things. We're streaming. If we can get one, I don't know, give me a number of subscribers that it would take.
Subscribers,
say for the YouTube channel, because we do TikTok likes. That's super easy, and then we have to do it.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be have to something where like it pays for itself. Like I'm not gonna spend money to go waste time on something that I don't think is real.
Okay, well, I mean, what's your number? What's your hard number?
It has to be paid for.
That's the hard number. Money.
Like it has to cost me that many dollars.
Okay. Here's what I'm willing to do. If we get to an absurd number, like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, that's
but I don't know the monetization schedule of something like that.
No, it's not including that. If just for me, if we get to 100,000, I will find a way either to fly to you or to fly you out to me to a haunted location, and we will do it. I will pay for it.
Okay.
We might be sleeping in a goddamn RV.
I have a pop-up.
Got one.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll figure it out. But if we get to 100,000, I want you to agree to it that the three of us will go spend the night in a haunted location.
And live stream
the whole time. We're gonna have personal cameras and everything.
I'd do that for sure.
100,000? Are you down?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I could do it for 100.
We might just get to 100,000 off of egg today.
Yeah.
I watched Law and Order, bro.
So perfect.
There's nothing in this world that scares me,
except everything that does scare her.
As for you.
So we're getting to the point of the segment right now where we, as young people, get to ask Matt life advice, and then Matt gets to ask us what the fuck is wrong with our generation. So, Egg, do you have any advice?
He's old enough to do that.
He is. He's ancient. Do you have any advice you'd like to ask Matt today?
You go first.
Okay, so I have a simple question, actually, this time. I've been asking a lot of relationship advice, and guess what? That's what's going to happen today. I just want your opinion on what a simple date for me and my girlfriend would be, because we have been spending so much time with our families and just crisis after party after just significant things we have to do. We don't have enough time to spend together alone. I would just like something that I could do as a date that I can plan for her that you think would just mean a lot to her.
See, that's hard because both of you guys live with families.
Exactly.
Because, one thing that I would recommend, if you guys didn't, and if you can get away with this, maybe do it, is, because obviously the goal is to spend time with each other. The date itself is just something, but if you could, get yours or her family gone for an evening.
Mine leave next weekend.
Cook a meal together. Come up with a meal that's you don't want something super difficult, but something that's somewhat easy. And just spend some time, play some music, sing some songs, listen to your...
the dogs
came in. Yep. Listen to some mariachi music or...
That's racist, but correct.
The last time we cooked together, you listened to mariachi.
It's not mariachi, it's Tejano. Tell him, Meg. Tejano is different.
I'm sorry, I don't know the difference.
I also put on this chef soundtrack.
So, let me ask you this. Do you speak Spanish, Thomas?
Nope.
Okay, I didn't think so because my wife's like, well, ask Thomas what this means. And I was like, well, Thomas doesn't speak Spanish. She goes, we were listening to all that Spanish music and he was singing along. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't speak Spanish though. He has no idea what the fuck they were saying.
Oh, no, I know what they're saying. He
just knows the words.
I understand Spanish. Like, there's a difference, especially like with media like that. Like, you grew up listening to these songs, you know what they mean, you know what they're saying, but it's like,
no.
I couldn't have a conversation with someone.
I've listened to La Bamba at least 100 times, and I have no idea what they're saying.
So cook a meal,
but yeah, that's something. I mean, it's simple and it sounds, but like doing it together can be a lot of fun. It can backfire and things can go terribly wrong.
Well, we have cooked together once, and we've done things where it could be stressful and cause fights. So I think that actually is a good idea.
Do something easy. You know, something that's not going to take a ton of time. You know, maybe something that you just kind of have to prepare and put in the oven.
Like spaghetti.
And spaghetti. Spaghetti's always a baked spaghetti.
Okay, I can do that.
You know.
Yeah.
Has she ever cooked spaghetti for you?
You know, Matt, I really don't think she has. So
no. Okay.
No. Yeah.
All right.
Eggy, do you have a question for Matt today?
Since my birthday's coming up soon, and I'm gonna do the 2 months. Within 2 months, so not super soon, but soon enough.
Did you say the big 2-1 or 2-0?
2-1.
Okay.
What's better, a dark beer or a light beer? Like IPA or stout?
What kind of evening are you going for?
I have no idea.
See,
just asking your preference.
That's the big question: is what kind of evening you're going for? Because if you're going out with friends, like for you, probably light beer is always going to be the best choice. And the reason I say that is because when you're going out to the bar, at least for me, when I was 21, we were going out, we were taking shots, we were drinking heavily. So a light beer is going to not get you as drunk versus drinking a Guinness that is 7-8% alcohol. That's going to fuck you up on its own, let alone throwing shots in with it. You know? So, yeah, if I'm going out and I know that friends that take shots, I stick to a light beer and sip on it because the shots are going to get me fucked up. The beer's just kind of there to have in my hand. So if somebody's like, "Oh, you need a beer?" Like, "Nope, I got one. I'm good. Thank you, though." You know,
that's some good advice. Yeah.
If I'm just at home by myself, yeah, I'm going to pick whatever beer I want. You know, and there's some nights where it's, "Hey, I want an Oktoberfest. I want one of my favorite beers comes out of Big Sky, Montana, and it's called Drool. Fucking delicious. It's like a coffee. Yeah, it's like a dark coffee liquor beer or coffee beer. Oh, it's so fucking good. But I have about 5 of them, and I'm fucking drooling. So it's not a good beer to take shots with. But if I'm just at home drinking by myself, it's a great beer to have. So that's generally my rule. If I'm taking shots and I'm drinking light beer. If I'm going to be drinking just beer all night, I can go to a darker beer.
Good advice.
That's damn good advice. Now, Matt, this is the time where you get to ask us the question, old man to young man / lesbian.
Yeah,
so I read an interesting statistic today, and it said that at about the age of 27 is when your brain, essentially, you kind of quit listening to new music, and basically the music that you've listened to up until that point is the only music you're going to listen to. That's like super close up on you. Like,
Yeah, sorry, I had to
shit,
turn off. I had to turn off my TV and turn it back on.
But they said that at about 27, that's like where the music that you've listened to up until that point, you're going to enjoy. But more than likely, music that you hear after that point, you're done. Your music receptors are almost done. And like, you're not going to enjoy music after that point. So that got me really thinking, because I'm like, wow, yeah, because I haven't listened to a ton of new music, like that people, I mean, obviously I love, Taylor Swift, but who doesn't love Taylor Swift?
The T-Swizzle.
I mean, but like,
I think she just dropped a new album.
God, I wish I should go find it if she did. But like Post Malone, I never got into Post, but he came out super long after I turned 27.
Now, have you heard Post Malone's country music?
No.
I think it might turn you on to it.
So, and that's my question is like, so like we all heard music and we kind of, each generation kind of has their own. There's always, I think everybody kind of goes through that like rebellious stage where they listen to like older music. Like, did you guys ever listen to The Doors?
I did.
No.
My rebellious music though was My Chemical Romance when it was coming out.
Okay.
So
that came out a while before you.
When did that come out?
My Chemical Romance?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a while before you.
When did that come out?
I can't give you a year.
My Chemical Romance started after 2001.
Yeah.
So it started within my lifetime.
Yeah. But 2001? Like, that was your rebellious music? Was My Chemical...
2004. And when I started listening to them, I was in the 4th grade. And that's when they started. And I remember the Black Parade came out maybe when I was in middle school. And so...
that makes more sense.
Yeah. And then, of course, Blink-182 was always there. And stuff like that.
And that's going to be, like, that'll be... you're going to be listening... You ever think about the fact that you're going to be listening to Blink-182 when you're like 70 and your kids are going to be like,
day I die.
But then like you listen to the music that your grandparents listen to and you're like, why are you fucking listening to this? Like, this is crazy shit.
Completely incorrect. My grandmother, from when she was a teenager, was in love with Elvis. And growing up, that's what we listened to every Christmas, was just this old album, first edition Elvis album. And I have it written in her will that I get that album when she dies.
That's so funny because my grandma had a Neil Diamond Christmas album that we listened to every fucking year. Every year.
And so Elvis, to this day, he's on my Spotify. I listen to Elvis all the time. But I have a counter argument for you, right? Because I have this great relationship with my father, and he is constantly looking and listening to new country music. Consistently.
They say that's actually a really good thing for your brain because it's more of a thing within your brain from what I read. And so, and like learning new music actually helps your brain stay healthy because that's why you like get into like that zone and just keep listening. Because at that point, I mean, you figure by the time you're 27, especially for you guys with Spotify and the internet and shit like that, like, you have to remember, by the time I was 27, Spotify hadn't came out, I don't think.
I doubt it.
I mean, that
was
was
like the 60s.
11 years ago.
No, it was out because my oldest playlist right now is 11 years old.
Okay.
So it was fresh.
It was fresh. And I super against paying for shit. So, like, I didn't have Spotify Premium at that point. I was probably listening to free Pandora at that point.
I started paying for it then, and I have not stopped paying for it.
Oh. I'm cheap. So, but like the amount of songs that like I look at now, it was a really interesting thing to me. Curious as to like, you guys have had so much more exposure to music. And so like, Thomas, do you still listen to like current music? Like stuff that's coming out fresh. So, because I couldn't even tell you bands that are still playing live other than Ted Nugent, who's been playing for the last 40 fucking years. And I would still love it if he came to and visited South Dakota again for the state fairs because I want to see him for the 4th time.
So the thing is that I actually do listen to a lot of new music, but I will say that my genres have changed. Every now and then I do the punk pop or just punk rock, right? But it's very rare from when I was in that rebellious stage. Nowadays, I actually mainly listen to country music, and even then, it's either whiskey country or Texas country. So guys like Wade Bowen and Jordan Ranger, you probably guys have probably never even heard of them, but they are fucking amazing. So maybe I'm just not there yet, but I never really got into rap or any of that. The only reason I know who Post Malone is because he released a country album. So I've definitely stuck with just my genre. Not an album, but country songs. Icky?
So my main issue is since I got like a car that could connect to my phone, I've been playing Spotify. And I stick with what I'm comfortable with, so I don't actively listen to new music. I don't particularly go searching out for it, so I kind of stick within my comfort zone. So, like, I have artists I follow, and if they release new stuff, yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna listen to it because I follow them for a reason. But most of the time, yeah, I don't seek out new music or listen to new music. I have so many songs on my playlist that it's just like I just cycle through those.
Same.
Well, yeah, because like Queen doesn't come out with anything new, and I like to listen to Queen. Or Eve 6 isn't coming out with new shit. So like the bands that I listen to don't come out with new stuff. So I appreciate you, Eggy. Yeah, that's
one thing that'll always get me. Cole Swindell released a song recently. It's been killing it on the charts. It's called Heads Carolina, which is based off the old song Heads Carolina, Tails California. And I don't know.
he the TikTok guy.
Cole Swindell? He's more than just a TikTok guy. You might be
Yeah, but that's how he started, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so at all. Cole Swindell's been out for a while, right?
I'm pretty sure he started.
I'm pretty sure he's been
God,
out for
I really want to
time.
look it up.
But as long as you guys are okay with this, actually, because we're having such a good time with this conversation topic, I would love if next Thursday we actually discuss music, music through our generations, what sounds good, what doesn't, things that have how music has affected our lives. Matt, are you okay with that?
No, I actually despise that topic.
With discussing music as our topic next Thursday, just encompassing things that music has done for us, music that has impacted us, and music that we get to listen to. I think it's a good topic. We get to listen to Egg talk about, I don't know, DaBaby or whatever. I don't know, like you kids listen.
We talk about Girl in Red.
And I would love to talk about how I would absolutely bang Reba McEntire to this day, but we'll get into.
I was listening to her in the truck.
I was listening to her last like a couple hours ago. But in any case, it is time for us. We're gonna call it unless anyone else has anything else to say.
I have to pee really bad.
Well,
please cut that out.
I won't. That's it. Everyone, Egg has to pee.
The new TikTok right there.
Yeah, there it is. I have to pee really bad, and that's just it.
And we can compare it with the Forrest Gump. I gotta pee.
I gotta pee. So,
I must have drank me about 12 Dr. Peppers.
So, Egg, any last words for our sign off?
You're pointing at me.
No, I'm not.
Are you gonna put me out of my misery? No, final words. Just had a great time talking to you guys. It was fun.
I'll do mine, and then Matt will do our final sign off. I like to follow that rhythm, young to old. Thank you everyone for listening. This was Sammies and Beers, our Sammy of the month. I've had Matt's approval for this. My father made the most excellent breakfast sandwich, and when we post this to YouTube, I will have a link into the description so you can see a picture on Imager. So you can see the absolute fucking monster that this was. Couldn't fit the whole thing in my mouth, and I'm pretty good at that. So, and you're used
to sticking meat in your mouth.
It had like 6 slices of ham, a dozen eggs, 7 pieces of toast. It was ridiculous. It wasn't that big. But Matt, if you could just finish this off, please.
Well, everybody, I would love to thank you for joining us. It's been a fantastic Thursday evening. If you joined us live on Twitch, as of right now, it is Midwest Sniper X live on Twitch. So thank you so much. It's been a thirsty Thursday with Ego and Thomas, aka Ember, aka Blaze.
Also,
we're
Matt,
just-
you didn't pay attention to the chat because myself and Ozdoc both told you it's time to stretch.
I stretched twice. You can go back and watch the video. There was at least 2 stretches in there.
I'm
so
gonna need something like
eat a
touch
bag
the
of dicks.
toes, or like, you know,
No, it's
stand
this.
up and do something.
The back cracks. There's a stretch. We're good.
Like, I don't think that counts, do you?
I saw good at least once.
I don't think that counts. But I'll take it for now.
So, but as we said, this is Sammies and Beer. We appreciate you stopping. And if you want to leave your thoughts, opinions, comments, tell me how dumb I am for not believing in ghosts, or tell me how smart I am because they're not fucking real, go ahead and do that. Leave a comment below. I love y'all, but also fuck y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Toodles!